Welcome back to the night mode edition of the Mark Jackson Show. I'm Mark Jackson. We're on the Come and Talk to Me Network. I'm with my guy, Bluu. Welcome back, Bluu. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you
too,
too,
the NBA
Pop.
Finals. Did you get your chicken noodle soup? You okay?
Nah, I didn't get no chicken noodle soup. Just an email from Underdog Fantasy that I used up on my vacation going to Cancun the other week. So I needed to hurry up and get back. I'm feeling much better. I'm glad to be back with some good games. It's good to see you, Pops. What's that?
Good to see you, man. You're looking good. You're looking good. You had me worried for a minute.
I know. It's all right. It's all right, baby. I'm back. Relax. It's all right. Don't worry too hard. That's a nice hat, though. That's a J?
Are you done?
Huh?
I love the purple. You bringing back Laker colors. Okay.
I love the cleavage. You bringing back Marilyn Monroe with the what? Okay.
Are you finished, man?
Huh?
Are you finished?
I'm back. That's where I'm at. I'm back. All right, real quick, pause before we get into anything. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Go ahead and click the link in the description. They're matching a deposit of up to $250. Use the promo code MARK. That's MARK. We appreciate y'all, man. Also, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, man. Run it up. Show us some love. We here. We working. We enjoying what we doing, and we love hearing back from y'all, the feedback and just everything, man. So, Pops, big game tonight. Let me know what's your first thoughts. I just want to know generally, what was your first thoughts coming off of this game?
Impressed by the Boston Celtics individual and collective defensive intensity, effort, way they communicate, way they have game plan discipline. They're playing like the NBA. It's the NBA Finals, and they're taking the challenge. And they've done a great job of responding, great job of taking care of home court, winning the first two games. I'm the Dallas Mavericks. I don't overreact, but you got to make the adjustments. Right now, they're being thoroughly outplayed, and Celtics have responded. And extra effort plays. You look at the Celtic team that shot 10 for 39 from three-point range. That's not Celtic basketball, the brand of basketball they had all year long, but they're able to sustain because they buy in on the defensive end, and they're absolutely committed through the first two games of the NBA Finals defensively of doing what they're called to do and executing the task at hand.
I think my original thoughts, I agree with what you're saying. I've been hearing a lot of people say how great Luka has been playing. And I'm not going to let Luka off the hook. As offensively great as he's been playing, I don't think these first two games he has played his best brand of basketball. Defense wins championships. This Celtics team is committed on the defensive end. And this Dallas Mavericks team is not the same Dallas Mavericks team as far as commitment to defensive consistency that we saw against OKC Thunder. And honestly, throughout this whole playoff series, it seems like they've fallen back into what they're comfortable with, which is their identity, which is offensive juggernauts, offensive players that can go get a bucket whenever they want. But what has gotten them this far has been their ability to hit a switch on defense and compete at a new level that we hadn't seen before. That's something that we've missed. And as much as Luka has been phenomenal on the offensive end, defensively, I watched him allow dudes to hit open shots while he waved his hand or jogged with a slight effort or just looked. Multiple possessions. I watched him foul and make dumb plays. I watched him turn over the ball. So although he scored and made plays and it looks amazing, this is not the best Luka. And I love Luka. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. But we have to hold him accountable as well.
There's no doubt about that. His numbers look impressive, but at the end of the day, 8 turnovers, careless with the basketball, quitting defensively, surrendering not just Luka, but the Dallas Mavericks. Direct line drives, sitting on one side of the offensive guy, allow them to have direct line drives, making plays for themselves, all forcing help, getting wide open shots. I can break down, as I wrote it down, at least 30 to 40 plays where it cost them a basket, whether their own or the Boston Celtics. Careless play, time and time again, 30 to 40, and that's huge when you're talking about 40 clips that I can put together and say, well, you got to be better. Direct line drives, extra effort plays, giving up offensive rebounds, turns into a three-point shot. Careless plays, giving up wide open transition baskets, a take foul. these missed free throws, the discrepancy with free throw shooting by the Boston Celtics as opposed to missing free throws by the Dallas Mavericks. If I'm the Dallas Mavericks, I'm Jason Kidd, I'm breaking down those films, that film session, and saying what we need to do in order to win against this Boston Celtic team. We're right there, but we've got to tie up the loose ends that we've cost ourselves offensively, defensively, rebounding, missed shots. And one thing I would do if I'm Jason Kidd, I thought about it. I'd play Tim Hardaway Jr. I would absolutely play Tim Hardaway Jr. because one thing I know about Tim Hardaway Jr., he's not afraid of the moment. The moment is not going to be too big for him. You have to have guys on that floor that are threats and comfortable with taking and making big shots. I believe in Tim Hardaway Jr. in his career. I believe in what he's been able to do for this Dallas Mavericks team, and I think he can give them a scoring punch or some life in Game 3, especially being back at home. But this is a team that's got to respond. They've got to make the proper adjustments. And give the Celtics credit. They did what they were supposed to do. But I'm Jason Kidd and I'm the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not going to overreact. Our job now is to go back home to Dallas, make the proper adjustments, and take care of business at home.
Let's talk about what the Celtics did well tonight, Pops. Let's give them some credit because, as you said, they are dominant on that defensive end. They are playing and competing and doing all the right things. So what did you see tonight that allowed them to separate themselves from the Mavericks?
Elite defense. I mean, outstanding defense. Extra effort, multiple effort plays defensively, chasing down. Even I thought it was a foul with P.J. Washington, which could have closed the gap down the stretch, obviously, to push in the back. But still, you got Derek White and Jaylen Brown contesting a wide open dunk or layup attempt, securing the victory. Those type of plays, that didn't happen down the stretch. That was consistent with the energy and effort of the Boston Celtics. They are a big-time, elite defensive team, and a guy that's been reliable, steady as they come, the ultimate pro, Jrue Holiday, again, continues to be spectacular, whether it be scoring, defense, timely plays. He gave him a bonus on the offensive end by scoring 26 points, 11 big rebounds, and outstanding defense. It's the Celtics by committee. You know, I see the argument, who's their best player? Does it matter? Does it really matter? Because they find a way to get it done collectively, and they have no egos. And they play with like a team that's been there before through experience. They buy in, and they don't care who gets the credit. It's awfully impressive what they've been able to do through 2 games in the NBA Finals. But it starts first and foremost with their defense, individually and collectively. They are absolutely stellar defensively. And then offensively, I think it works against them at times when it's you could take a shot or I could take a shot, as opposed to we know who the ball is going through when you're talking about the Dallas Mavericks. So I think it works against the Celtics at times, but it hasn't in the first 2 games in the NBA Finals. They have spread the basketball, spread the wealth, and made timely shots. No matter who has the basketball, they're comfortable with taking and making shots, and they trust each other.
Yeah, I think that would be my response to what you said. I don't know. Does it matter who the best player is? Currently, no, because they're up 2-0 and they look great and things are going well. But in a tight series, if they come back 2-2 and it's a close game, then it does matter who the best player is, because we are going to be looking at Jason Tatum to stand up or Jaylen Brown to stand up. Or if it's Jrue Holiday, whoever it is, whoever that person in that moment is, we're going to be looking at them to step up. So I understand it doesn't matter now, but I do think it matters who the best player on the team is, who the guy that you go to when it matters most is. I think there does have to be a pecking order.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there are times during the course of a season where, okay, Bluu is hot. Let's give them the basketball down the stretch. Let's let them win this one game. But overall, the great teams that I played for, we understood who was going to get the basketball down the stretch. That didn't mean that they was going to shoot the basketball, but the play was going to be made through that individual, whether it's Pat Ewing, Reggie Miller in college, Chris Mullin, Walter Berry. We understood who was going to get the basketball, and then we was going to play off of a double team or a play made by our best player. I think it works to your advantage at times when you have a bunch of guys that can be that guy, but I think it's a disadvantage when there's no pecking order, true pecking order, a steady diet of who we're going to play through when it matters most. But this team is clicking right now, and they have unselfish players that are willing to make plays for each other and does not care who gets the credit. And it's a thing of beauty to watch when they're clicking on both sides of the floor.
Now, Pops, I haven't seen anybody say anything about this yet, and even during the broadcast, I didn't hear them bring it up. But I know that you watched the game within the game. Did you see Luka and Jaylen Brown in the corner low-key slap boxing each other?
I didn't miss it. I didn't miss
Well,
it. And I liked it. I
I
liked it
liked it.
because it's some. What you about to say?
No, I liked it too. Go ahead.
No, I liked it because somebody's got to get upset. Somebody's got to play with an edge. Somebody's got to send a message that we're not going to be manhandled and continue to be physical with me all game long. And I like the event. But here's what I'd say to Luka. You know you can make that same message by getting a defensive stance and sliding and not giving a dude a direct line drive. You know you can make that same message by making the multiple effort plays and contesting a shot and not waving, getting back into the picture. Save the energy of the slap boxing with Jaylen Brown and give me the same type of energy with the extra effort, commitment on the defensive end. I think he's doing a great job helping them rebound in the basketball, but I like to see him. And I think the times he has displayed the ability to defend. But I want a steady diet of it because this is it. You got plenty of time to rest when the first team wins four. But let's make sure we leave it all on the court and leave our gas tank on empty. And right now, I think they're leaving some effort plays that could be the difference between winning and losing on the board.
Mm. Now let me ask you, because I saw a few possessions, well, more than a few, where there were high screen and rolls where Luka had Pritchard switched onto him, Hauser, Derek White, smaller guards, and he got his look in the mid-post area, but it was after a lot of dribbling. Do you believe that it may benefit this Mavericks team to maybe do a guard-on-guard pick and roll a little closer and get Luka that mismatch in the mid-post where he doesn't have to dribble 15, 20 times? Or do you think there's a way to get a more effective just offensive flow for this Mavericks team?
Well, this is who they are. This is how they got to the NBA Finals. So I think you can remix it a little bit, but you don't want to change everything all of a sudden and act like what we've been doing all year isn't able to win a championship. It is. Mm-hmm. I thought down the stretch, maybe you get a guy like Pritchard in the ball game, guarding Kyrie Irving. You can bring him in the action, Hauser in the action, try to get a switch where one of them is defending Luka, then get out of his way. I think the main thing is not about Luka getting in the middle of the floor. They're going to be fine with that. I would like to see them create some action where Kyrie Irving is catching the basketball on the move. Oklahoma City had great success defending Kyrie Irving, minimizing him to averaging 15 points in that series against Oklahoma City, putting Jalen Williams with size, 6'8", 6'9", size, length, disrupting a lot of things that Kyrie Irving was attempting to do. You see what the Celtics are doing, similarities. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Tatum, Brown, long athletic wings that's trying to disrupt them and having some success. I'd get the ball to Kyrie on the move, but guys are trailing him, and he uses that craftiness and ability to finish mid-range shots, finish at the rim, put pressure on them that way, relieve some of the tension that they're creating defensively. So I expect to see some of that as an adjustment moving forward. But I'm fine with the looks that Luka's getting, and I said it early on, I would like to see Luka and Kyrie even more aggressive. I thought they got great help from Gafford, posting up a couple of times, P.J. Washington attacking. I thought they got great help from the supporting cast. But I think those two guys are going to have to carry the load and stop being so careless, especially Luka with the basketball. I don't need, he's a spectacular player, but let's be efficient and effective and take care of the basketball, making high percentage plays, and then trust that guys get open looks, they take and make them. But you cannot give this Celtic team life by turning the basketball over carelessly and get them going in transition. And then the other thing is, I want to see him play with more pace. Indiana Pacers was successful pushing the basketball, getting this defense. When you even if you push it, that's not what Luka does. But throw it to Kyrie, push the basketball, get a defense on its heels, and then we can get pick and roll action. Then we can get ISO action when the defense is on its heels. Now we can attack, as opposed to setting it up slow, bringing it up slow. They see all the action. They see what you're trying to do. So let's mix a little bit with pace. Let's mix a little bit with getting Kyrie on the move. Let's mix a little bit with being better defensively and creating some offense with those role players off of stellar defense.
Now we saw Porzingis get a little banged up. How big of a deal is it if he's not able to continue and play on this in this next game?
Well, he's played well, especially in game one. He was spectacular. And I thought in game two, he disrupted, altering shots, changing shots. His size, I mean, he is, if you watch on TV, you don't even get an understanding of how huge he is as far as his size and his athleticism and his rim protection and just being in the way. And then being able to put him in the middle of the floor, he gives them a weapon that they don't have if he's not in uniform. So it's big to keep him healthy and whole. And I think if you're the Dallas Mavericks, I'd keep him in the action. I'd beat him up physically, and I'd try to wear him down. And the 20, 25 minutes that he's playing, it would be hard-fought minutes, and I'd set the tone by attacking him offensively and defensively, trying to – the guy hasn't played in a minute other than games 1 and 2. He's had a long layoff. Put a demand on his body and try to disrupt him, making him a little bit more uncomfortable because right now he's – outside of being hurt, he's been extremely comfortable on the floor.
Fair enough, Pops. Okay, what's your expectations going into this game 3?
If you're the Dallas Mavericks, one thing you can't expect because we're home, everything is going to be all right. This is a Celtic team that's proven, that understands what it takes to win, understands they're extremely well coached, they have great leadership, they understand that they're going on the road and they've got to be better. So you're not going to steal a game from them. You've got to take a game from them. So right away, you got to play with force. You got to be better by taking care of the basketball. You got to defend at a high level. And then you got to me, again, play with pace, put pressure on them, sending them a message that this series is far from over. But it starts on the defensive end, and it starts with your best players. And I point the finger to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is an all-time great. He's a spectacular basketball player that can score with the best of them. He's got to be better offensively. And he's got to accept the challenge, embrace the challenge, and look forward to the challenge, and then respond the way that he's done throughout the course of his career.
All right, Pops, who wins game 3?
I'm going to say the Dallas Mavericks will win game 3, understanding that to me, it's a must win. You don't want to go down 3-0 to this Celtic team. Too many guys that know what it takes to win. And you want to let them know that this series is far from over. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks to win game 3 in a close ball game.
I think I'm going to go with you. But it's tough. Looking at this Celtics team, they look great, man. I can't even there's nothing you can say about them right now. They're playing great basketball, rolling on all cylinders, and it's tough to see a way that this Mavericks team can come back and turn it around, but never count out greatness.
The one thing I will say is they're not clicking on all cylinders because this is a team that shoots the ball as good as any team in basketball. Game 1, they struggle from three-point range. Game 2, 10 of 39. So they're not clicking on all cylinders offensively. They're missing shots. So I think if you're the Dallas Mavericks, you take care of the basketball, you put pressure on them offensively. They continue to shoot this way. We got ourselves a long series, but the Mavericks have got to be better.
I agree.
Well, that does it for this setup of episode 2 of the Reggie Miller interview. Episode 1 got rave reviews. The response was awesome. We loved it. It was fire. We agree with you. And now let's check out episode 2 with the great family member, Reggie Miller.
We're back. You already know who's here. My uncle, my pops, and me, of course. I'm happy to see y'all. Go ahead and like this video. It's part 2 with Reggie Miller, man. Give it up. We're not done clapping for you. It's always love. It's always love.
The legend.
The legend. I'm just glad we made a part 2. I mean, we could easily do 3 and 4.
You have an empty seat anytime you want to join us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Finally, why you didn't say that when you first said that's part
No,
of
that's
the
a given.
intro.
It's family. That's a given.
Supposed to be part of the intro.
No, that's for
Wow.
this isn't for the streets. He knows.
You raised me better than that. You know better.
Thank
Come on,
you, little
Pops.
Jack.
Come
Let
on,
me ask
Pops.
you a question. I don't know if you remember. We were playing the Orlando Magic with Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway and that great team. And we were playing them in the playoffs. And so we had a couple of days in between games.
You're not going to believe it. I know exactly where you're going with this.
Okay, you tell it.
This is ridiculous that we did this. It was what? We were idiotic for us to do this.
You tell it.
So we were down there in Orlando for a couple days.
Yes.
Before game 1, I believe it was. Are you talking about we decided to go to the pool?
Yeah.
We decided to go to the pool and like dummies, lay out. I'm not kidding you. I'm not talking about like normal layout. Like we were just chilling, just he and I, and talking about, the upcoming game, but we're in the Orlando sun.
Yeah.
So this is conference final. So we're talking about the end of May, mid-May. So it's hot.
Yeah.
I mean, like 90 degrees, humid, and we're out there like 3 or 4 hours. We come into practice the next day, and I'm looking like Michael Jordan. I'm that dark. I'm blue. Like we are so tan, right? So when the game starts, everyone's like, what's wrong with Jack and Reg? Like, they look totally different.
We opened up the press conference initially as Steph Curry. By the time it was game time, we was Draymond Green.
Like, what were y'all doing out there? What were we thinking?
I'm following this dude's lead. We out there time flying. And
Y'all wasn't worried about the game? Y'all knew y'all had it?
we wasn't thinking.
No, we didn't have it. We shouldn't have been in the sun. It drained us.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
That is hilarious.
Silly things you do.
That's hilarious.
Live and learn.
You got any more? Y'all got any more stories?
We got a lot. We got a lot.
Give me something else. Maybe something from the Indiana Pacers days.
I'll have one for you. Let me see if you can remember this. I'm trying to think. I think it must have been Sacramento. So we had a motto. If you got into a scrap or a fight, these were the things. You couldn't fight anyone that was smaller than you. So I'm 6'7", so I couldn't like take a swing on someone who was like 6'2", 6'3". Mm-hmm. You could only fight someone your same level or up.
Yeah.
So we're playing Sacramento. Ike, I call him Ike. It's Dale Davis. Mm-hmm. We get into a team fight, right? I mean, full on benches clear. And we also had a thing like, you better not be holding one of us back. You got to hold them back. Don't hold your own teammate.
Yeah.
You get in there and hold them.
Yeah.
Or take a swing. Because if you don't take a swing, then we're going to handle it in our locker room later on too. Yeah. So it's a full-on fight, and you've got to leave the bench. And if you left the bench, you got fined. But team camaraderie, it's a team sport. So Ike is just throwing haymakers in the middle. I mean, fighting the centers and the power forwards. And I look over at Jack, and Jack kind of looks at me. He probably won't remember this, right? And it was like Mitch Richmond, and it was these other dudes, right? And I'm like, well, who you gonna take? I'm like, who you gonna take? He's like, man, just jump in the middle and act like you're throwing swings. I'm like, all right. So we just like dog piled in the middle and acting like we were like fighting. But that's what was the beauty of the Indiana Pacers was like we had each other's back through thick and thin, through some of those fights, because like it was a lot of things. You couldn't fight anyone smaller than you. You only could fight someone 6'6", 6'7", or above. Because if you took a swing on a little dude, come on, man. Yeah. Can't do that. You got to fight up.
Yeah. We were a tied together group, and it reminds me of another story.
Uh-oh.
We were having training camp at the Disney Institute in Orlando.
A lot of things in Orlando.
And we were playing cards late at night. And something broke off in the middle of the card game with somebody that was
Cheated a pot?
Somebody that was a guest. So somebody wound up getting hurt. The police were called. We had nothing to do with it, but we witnessed it. So make a long story short, next day Larry Bird calls Reggie and I in the office, and he's like, I don't know if you know, but there was a card game at Dale Davis's room last night. Guys was up late, and Reggie and I was like, what?
What? Are you serious?
Guys was up late, and the cops had to be called, and it was unfortunate.
I was like, you want us to talk to Dale? Because we'll go talk to Dale right now. I mean, this is unacceptable that something like this would go on. I was like, Jack, did you know anything like this? He's like, Jack, no. I was like, Coach, we'll handle it. So then we walk out the office, and we're like, I told you they were going to find out. Shit, anytime you hit 911, you know they were going to find out. So we had to come up with a story.
Did y'all figure it out? Did y'all come up with a plan?
He never made the press?
Yeah, never made the press, but he was contemplating whether to punish Dale or not.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until about a week later he realized that we were actually. But Larry Bird was so great as a coach and as a person. He saw the comical side of us sitting there, not ratting the whole story out. So it was, but we were a tied together team.
Protect your teammate at all costs.
Really had a blast playing with each other and for each other.
Yeah. Speaking of those Pacers days, we got the invite from the Indiana Pacers to come to those playoff games against the Knicks, but somebody wanted to be big time. I know that you got to experience it. Please talk a little bit about what it was like to be back around that team, just so much history that you've poured into.
Well, first of all, I wish you would have went, but I understand why he didn't, because he does have allegiance to both teams.
Fair enough.
Rookie of the year with the Knicks, and then becoming one of the biggest instigators with us, with the Pacers. So I can understand why he was on the fence and not wanting to go. So in your defense, I understand that. But when I got the call, my bosses at Turner was like, we want you to work game 2 of the Knicks Pacers. And it also had come from the league too. They kind of wanted it as well. I was like, are you sure you want me to call the game? Because I knew what was going to happen if I came to Madison Square Garden during a heated rivalry, because the Knicks were balling this year, have been balling. And the Pacers, you're going to relive a lot of those memories, what we talked about in episode 1, the ups and downs of those series. And I know how the New York faithful was going to react to me being in that building. So I'm like, all right, I'll call the game. But you do know anything positive I say about the Knicks, Pacer people are going to kill me. Anything I say positive about the Pacers, the Knicks people are going to kill me. I'm going to call this game right down the middle, like I normally do, and whatever happens, happens. So it was great to be in that environment because it was very contentious, and you could see it. It was only game 2, but you could kind of see it brewing that this was going to come to a head between Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Dante, and you got Tyrese, Aaron Nesmith, Nembhard, Miles Turner. I could see it forming, and it was only game 2. Pacers should have won game 1, but they didn't. And it was a great game. But then, being the front runners, I can't help myself.
There you go. There he goes. There you go. It was so nice, and now Reginald comes.
But here's the thing that I have an issue with. And this is why I cannot stand the Knicks, because to me, they're front runners, right? They think that they're God's gift to basketball. Fine, you can think that all you want. But don't front run when you guys are up and then you guys want to talk stuff. Because the whole game was great. There's 30 seconds left on the clock, and then you're finally going to win the game 2. So that's when the chants start. F you, Reggie. Which I was surprised it took that long. Which I'm used to the chants in that building. Okay, I helped create that. I'm okay with that. F you, Reggie. F you, Reggie. Okay. Now that you guys know you're going to win the game, it chants, okay. Should have left it at that, and we all could have moved on. Where gasoline was poured on it is when Josh came over to me.
Josh, that was crazy.
Josh Hart, right? And I don't think there was any, I don't know what was in his head. I don't think there was anything malicious. I think he was trying to be funny. But it was an open mic, so when he came over, I didn't know what he was going to say, But for him to, again, pour gasoline on it, saying, because all you heard on the mic was him saying, F you. So people thought that he just came over to me and said, F you, which wasn't the case. But that's when everyone on the internet started to blow things up. And the problem is, like, as a player, you can control what's going on out there on the court. When you're I'm broadcasting. I can't control the action. Like, why am I being dragged into the series? I'm here to work. But like Michael Corleone in The Godfather, just when I thought it was out,
It pulls you right back in.
he pulled me into the series, right? So then I got my old heads, Al Harrington and Jermaine and all them dudes texting me saying, that's bull, that's messed up. Ron Artest is hitting me, that's messed. All the old heads are hitting me. I'm like, it is what it is. So I'm thinking, so they go up 2-0. People are killing me on Twitter. Josh Hart, you're my favorite guy for telling Reggie Miller F you, which he didn't. He was just, he shouldn't have came over and said that in the first place. But it is what it is. So.
So you waited Perfect timing, series to be in hand, Pacers defeat the Knicks, and here's Reggie Miller. It ain't over.
I thought that was a very nice, congratulatory post.
What did you post?
I said, Jalen Brunson, you are the best player in these playoffs. Am I right about that? Mm-hmm. You're the best player in these playoffs. Congratulations. But now you and your Knicks can all go to Cancun and heal up. What is so wrong with that? Tell me what is wrong with that.
This dude trolled.
you just had to send one last little jab.
I just wanted them to heal up together on a beach somewhere.
Liked and retweeted millions of times.
They healing.
Mission accomplished.
They still healing.
And then calls me. Did you see it? Did you see it?
No. I was.
No.
But I'm. Here's the point. I'm not in the series. I had nothing to do with this series. But then I got dragged into it.
I will give you credit, and I'm not surprised. As an Indiana Pacer, as the greatest Pacer ever, as the all-time leading scorer and the face of the Indiana Pacers historically, you did call it down the middle. You was fair, you was consistent as a broadcaster, and it was refreshing to watch.
Appreciate that.
It's the law.
Thank you. I did my job.
Yes.
But again, being front runners, there was no need for that. There was no need for it. But it is what it is.
Knicks fans catching strays across the country.
Yeah. It won't be the first time. And look, the thing about the Knicks and the Pacers, they're both young.
Yeah.
Right? They're both young teams, and it's going to be years to come, kind of like it was in the 90s, where I think we faced them 6 times in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that, going against a team 6 times in 10 years. And I very well can see these two teams battling each other along with Boston for the Eastern Conference crown.
One thing I want to get into is we've known each other for so long, and I can remember you when I had, my kids tossing Little Jack or Heaven or Christian or Micah and playing and being engaged with them, but then handing them back to me saying, I'm like, wait till you get yours. She's like, no, not a chance. I'm not having no kids. You can forget about that. Then all of a sudden,
I know.
The dude has an incredible, beautiful family. I'm walking through we go to the my godson Riker's baseball game or football game, and then all of a sudden we're walking. He's like, hold on, I got to go walk to the classroom, picking up his daughters, and he's writing crayons and communicating with the teacher. I'm like, this is not the same dude. This is what has changed. I mean, have you obviously you realize how valuable and incredible of an experience it is.
Well, I will say I had a great teacher in you because I saw how you interacted, because I applaud any NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, whatever, those dudes that have kids while they're playing, I applaud you, because my main focus was to always just win a championship and focus in on winning and taking care of my body. We kind of talked about this off camera. When you're single and solo, I mean, I was married, but I had no kids. I had really no responsibilities. So you could always hone in on your craft. Kids change everything. Yeah. And I'm fortunate and blessed that I had 3 beautiful kids after my playing career, because I don't know if I could have been the dad I am now while I played. And that's why I said I had a great teacher, because you had kids while you were still playing at the highest levels and winning Rookies of the Years and going deep into, conference finals and playing at a high level. And I applaud that, because I know the time management that comes with raising kids. And I don't know if I could have done that while I played. And to see you do it and handle it, I know how the times I got to get up. And now with Lil Noah, when you have to get up early in the morning, I just don't know if I could have handled that. So I had a great teacher and mentor showing me that this is possible. So now to have a 10 and an 8 and a 3-year-old, you were the model to show me this can be done, and it fills in pieces of your life, kids. It's frustrating at times.
Well,
You waited for 3 minutes and let him speak to say that.
You know what I'm saying? Wow.
my fault.
No, but kids it's such a blessing. And I wouldn't change anything. You know, you're the godfather of Riker. And I just remember that first birthday party that we had for him, the big blow. Because your first, you always remember your first. And your dad blessing, not only giving the toast, but giving us a prayer and a healing. I mean, we might have had 100 people there. And the way that your dad interacted with everyone of all walks of life, from doctors and lawyers and other athletes and just regular people, number one, I knew I made the right choice of having him as Riker's godfather. But you and I have always been great because you balance me out. I don't know if I balance you out. You balance me out because, you know, I'm a military brat. I'm type A. I like order. I like things a certain way. And it's like the odd couple. He's the messy guy. He's all over the place. I'm regimented. He's, you know, a little bit more laid back than I am. And that balanced me. And with kids and how you were at that party and how you are with your godson, it balances out my life, which is great. Yeah.
But this guy's like King Richard, Serena Venus' dad. I go to football games. Riker's the quarterback. It's flag football. This guy is putting on a clinic. I'm an athlete. I watch sports, so I know how to critique it and break it down. Tremendous footwork in the pocket, great feel, understands where the heat is coming from, threads the needle, runs when he has to. He is putting on a clinic. It's a close ball game. He makes spectacular play that I never seen before on a football field. That was incredible. People going crazy. And all of a sudden, down the stretch.
Okay, you're talking about all the good things. What about some of the bad things he did too?
King Reggie.
What about some of the interceptions?
Hold on. At the end of the day, the final play, they're trailing. He threads the needle to the wide receiver or the tight end, runs it in, they win the ball game. I'm standing there like, I was just finished playing like, this is incredible. I'm giving a standing ovation. I'm like going crazy. That's my godson right there. This dude is like,
Joe Jackson in the corner.
You could have been better. I'm like, what are you doing, man? What do you mean you could have been better? The dude was spectacular.
Where's my, God rest his soul? What did Joe Jackson, where did he get Michael and the Jacksons?
There's other avenues.
King,
debatable.
Is it debatable
No, it's a lot of
that he's the greatest entertainer of all time?
Oh, no, he's the greatest entertainer of all time. I'm not going to say that,
King
that
Richard,
Joe Jackson is the greatest
Venus
father of all
Serena?
time. Huh? They great.
No, I'm not co-signing that.
Thank you. I didn't want to do it.
I'm not co-signing that. There's other avenues to get to that point.
Thank you.
He was spectacular. I come from a dad that I'd be like, I get 30.
We both, both of our dads are like that.
Yeah, but I'm not. That's why I'm not co-signing. I think we could be a little bit like that, but also you got to celebrate. You didn't celebrate.
Yes,
it.
I did.
It's great.
You don't know what was
I was
going
right there.
No, that's between me, you, and Faison. That was between us three. Did I say anything in front of him? No.
No, but I'm representing him at that point.
You're not. You don't know what I said to my son afterwards.
Oh my goodness, this guy's you got to acknowledge he put on a spectacular performance.
And I told him that in the car at home.
I needed to win.
You need confirmation?
Sometimes you need an audience. Like I needed my dad to say it in front of somebody else too, because they heard it when he was like, "Oh, he got to be better." They heard that part.
No, he didn't hear that.
No, but I heard that part.
Yes.
Okay, so let me hear the part where you say, "You got it done, baby." I want to see you moonwalking in the car with him. Like,
here
yo,
you go with this moonwalk stuff.
No.
Man.
Speaking of moonwalk, Indiana Pacers. It's a Halloween day, and we're living in Indiana, and nighttime comes and the doorbell rings, and I'm thinking, okay, some kids running up from trick or treating. Let me get the candy basket ready. I open up the door. This dude is dressed in a full Michael Jackson glitter outfit with the glove, the hat, and everything, and moonwalking, he in with the trick or treat bag. I'm like, what is it? Whoa.
Okay, all right.
You got it? You got you have it?
You forgetting I had the fake wig too.
No, I didn't forget.
Little ponytail. I had it all, man.
You want to show off the moonwalk
I
for us?
can't
Real quick?
moonwalk,
It's a
man.
little,
No, I
You
can't
can
moonwalk,
moonwalk.
man. I
I've seen you
cannot.
moonwalk.
No.
real quick.
Just say
we
you
can move the
refuse to
mic.
do it.
I cannot moonwalk
Whoa.
anymore.
Oh, anymore.
Anymore.
Anymore. Okay.
Anymore.
Last question covering historically. We went to the finals. I believe it was the finals year, and then after the finals were completed, you actually filmed something with the late great Kobe Bryant, right?
Yes. Well, it was prior to that we filmed. You talking about the real world?
Yeah, where y'all played a little one-on-one.
One-on-one. This was the year we went to the conference finals versus Chicago.
Okay.
So I think that was in 97, 98 when we did the Chicago versus us in the conference finals. Come back to LA, Gail D'Agostino, business manager, says, hey, the MTV, The Real World, this is when The Real World was just starting, when all the roommates lived together and all that. This is when unscripted reality TV was just booming. They want to do an episode where you and Kobe play one-on-one versus the cast of The Real World. We're like, sure, cool. And I think this is just going to be like a soft, us two versus, I think there was like 8 or 9 of them. Easy work. So I just remember Gail telling me, look, I'm just letting you know, when you get there early, Kobe's going to want to play you one-on-one. Right? I'm like, what do you mean play? We're just coming off playing MJ, right? Yeah. And, he loved MJ. He wanted to know everything about MJ. So when we get there, he needs to know what was being said in that series. What was Michael saying to you? What were you saying to him? Mm-hmm. He X's and O's. He wanted to know everything. Yeah. I was like, okay. And, I kept calling Mike, that black cat, this and that black cat. I can't, because, he and I never have had a great relationship. Yeah. And I kept saying that mother and, meh. And he's just looking at me. He's taking notes. He's like, Reg, you're going to refer to me one day as the caramel cat. I'm like, look at this dude, the caramel cat.
He was close, Black Mamba, caramel cat.
He's like, come on, man, let's go play some one-on-one. I'm like, I'm 30. Yeah. He's at the time maybe 19, 20. I'm like, we're not going to play one-on-one. Thank God the cast started to come in. I was like, how do you want to handle this, man? He's like, I got this. All you need to do is throw lobs all day. He's like, I got this. Like, you want to go on like that? He's like, I want to destroy them. I want to kill them. I'm like this 19-year-old. I was like, this is entertainment. Let's just have some fun. He's like, no, I want to destroy these kids. Who do they think they are to be on the same court with us? I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's go. So I did get on the court and I showed him. He's like, I do want to know one thing, your step back. How do you do this step back going to your left and you pull back and you create so much separation? So I'm kind of showing him. I did show him a couple MJ moves in the post and all that. And this is what I did against them. And this is how I tried to guard them. Lo and behold, fast forward, 3 years later, who do we meet in the NBA Finals?
Caramel cat.
That caramel cat. And the Lakers. It's 2-1. They had won the first 2 at home. We won game 3 in our building. Game 4 is in our building. The great Shaquille O'Neal fouls out. Going into overtime. We got this. Yeah. We had no answer for Shaq. Thank God. We had no answer. And that caramel cat not only used the moves that I showed him on the step back, and how to guard MJ in the post, and this is what I did against him. He used all those moves versus Jack and I in that overtime to win that game and go up 3-1. I'm like, this dude was freaking studying. Yeah. He was studying at 19.
At 19.
Wow.
And he took over the game, got so hot that one possession, I'm like, Reg, let me get him. I got him. I got him. It wasn't like I'm thinking I'm going to shut him down. I'm thinking I'm going to hammer him one time, send a message, not on our watch. The dude made a crossover move on me at the top of the key and elevated so fast, I had no opportunity to hit him. I looked at Reggie like, you got him. You got him. But, it shows his mentality and his greatness that he prepared for the moment by showing the respect to an all-time great, that he had something that I didn't have, and I'm willing to humble myself and take notes and become better so that when the lights come on and I'm in that position, I got all the answers. Think about it. He came to my house as a teenager and in Saddle River, New Jersey. I didn't even know him, knock on my door and sat for an hour and picked my brains as far as just the league and the things you go through. And so think about if he did it to you, he did it to me. Think about the encounters he's had across, and it showed in his greatness, and he put himself in the GOAT discussion because of his mentality and how prepared he was.
I tell people all the time, him, Michael, Magic Larry, those dudes were always playing chess, where the rest of us were always playing checkers. At times we could be playing chess, certain games. Those dudes always played chess. Always. They never played checkers at all. The only thing they knew how to play checkers. They were always 4 or 5 steps ahead of whatever you thought you were going to do. Now, there was games where I could play chess against certain players. Those dudes were on a different level. And that's why it's funny how Kobe never gets put in that GOAT. It's always LeBron and Michael. I think Kareem should be in a GOAT discussion as well. His name really doesn't get, but no one really talks about Kobe. And if we're going to a playground.
Think about it.
And those dudes are all lined up.
When we're losing the mic, there's no way in the world you tell me I'd ever put anybody in that discussion. But watching what Kobe was able to do and watching it up close, it's a toss-up between those two as far as in between those lines.
I mean, rip your heart out with your family in attendance. I mean, because, again, and I always tell, to me, Michael Jordan is the greatest player. I'll go to my grave with that.
Say that again, please. Say that again for
not today.
For
not
the young
today.
buck. No, say that for the young buck.
I'm tired. I had no yesterday. Don't do this.
No,
today.
fatigue is not an excuse.
Why do you like throwing me up as a sacrificial lamb? He wants me to say LeBron is the greatest, so they can do it in the comments. Okay, LeBron is the greatest to me. Okay.
But I can understand that because they don't know MJ like how you and I know MJ. They know LeBron. That's their era, and I get it. I only played against LeBron his rookie year, so I don't know. And he's developed into a great player, but I didn't see that development. Mike and I, even though he's older than I am, we locked heads a lot.
This dude here is making an excuse. You witnessed it. You had a front row seat
Michael,
for 20 years.
Michael is the greatest. I will go to my grave with that. That's why I'm saying, in terms of Kobe, I think it's a knock on Kobe because people say, well, we already witnessed that with number 23. Yeah. So it can't be Kobe. Whereas, LeBron's bigger, stronger, now 21 years. That's why the comparison is more so LeBron and MJ. But, I mean, people forget about Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan has to be, is he the greatest ever?
No, greatest what? Power forward?
He's definitely the greatest power forward.
He's not in
but
we're not doing that. We're not doing
that.
He's the greatest power forward ever. He's not in the GOAT discussion.
We're stretching the list
and I say that with great respect.
You're doing what he did with Caitlin Clark.
I'm getting ready to throw you off the set. No, you know that's not true. No, he's the greatest power forward ever. But we're not going to stretch it to him being in the GOAT conversation. And I say that with great respect for him.
5 rings, 3 MVPs, all defensive player for 10 plus years.
We know his resume.
Okay.
I can name you 10 other guys that you got to put in that conversation if you're going to go that far.
Who?
Wilt.
Not 5. Wilt has 2 championships, right? No.
I didn't know we judge as champions.
Yes.
No, that's not how you judge.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, that's not how we judge. That's not how we judge.
You don't judge greatness?
Not on how many championships you won.
Even if that's the criteria, though, then you
could have signed. You could have signed.
No,
In
Bill Russell wasn't the best
2007.
player on his team.
How disrespectful
You're so
is this dude?
disrespectful.
Bill Russell.
It was great, but was
I'm
he
getting ready to throw you
You're
off
so
the set.
was he
man.
the greatest player on his team?
Yes. Yes.
He wasn't?
You were just throwing shots on Russell, Will, anybody else you want to? How about Magic? Magic's in the discussion.
I would go Kareem first.
No, I'm just giving you 10, 11 guys if you want to say Duncan.
Magic change. We'll never see another 6'9" point guard. So he's unique enough.
I'm a Magic guy. I understand that. I have no problem with that. But you are out of line, my friend.
I'm out of line. No, you're out of line.
All right, y'all, I got to reel this back in because we were supposed to touch on this NBA Finals. So part 2 is going to come out Monday. Game 1 has already been played. But I want to get y'all predictions of what your outlook of this Finals is going to be.
This is an exceptional final, I believe. Again, coming off of the Western Conference Finals and having a chance to watch Dallas and Minnesota, and then last year having the Boston Celtics lose to Miami in that 7-game epic series. Dallas to me is the wild card because they've got 2 dudes that you could just throw them the ball, and they can just go to work and finish it for you. And I like the pieces that they added halfway through the season in P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. They have great size with Gafford and Lively, both of them playing about 24 to 26 minutes, splitting time at that center position. But Boston has 4 dudes that can guard those 2 dudes, White, Holiday, Brown, and Tatum. So are you asking me who am I going to go with?
I think that was the question 20
That's
minutes ago.
You learned from him. That was amazing.
I had to set it up
He
front.
covered every base.
That was great.
You got to cover both
So it's going to be a
bases.
tie. All right.
I'm going to rock with Dallas.
All right.
Because I just think something special is Luka's, man.
You on the same wave as him. Let me ask
Man.
you. Let me ask you this: is Luka the best player in this series?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think it's close.
I agree.
I don't think it's even close. And I love Tatum, but sometimes to me, Boston has a tendency to play down.
Yeah.
They did it in Miami, the Miami series this year. They did it to a certain degree against the Pacers in the conference finals. Even though they swept them, they should have lost game 1.
Yeah.
But they ended up winning. I can't fault them for doing that. And they kind of played down a little bit to Cleveland, even with Donovan Mitchell out.
Yeah.
So they play down at times. They can't play down to Dallas. If they play down to Dallas, they're going to be down in the series.
Yeah.
But yes, to answer your question, Luka, to me, will always be the best player on the floor. And he's had extended time to rest now. It feels like it's been like 8 weeks from the last time they played.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be hobbling and limping around. And with Kyrie going back home to Dallas or to Boston, a place where he played, and stomping on Lucky center court and talking all that noise, and I kind of like that. I like that.
Yeah. It's gonna be exciting. You looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it. I agree with everything he said. I'm picking Dallas. I think it's going to be a great series. And I think what he touched on with Kyrie Irving's cut from a cloth that he's not going to be bothered by the booing in Boston or the fans saying different things. He's at a different place in his life, and I think he's embracing the challenge that's going to be presented to him. So I'm going with Dallas. And to echo what he said, Luka is right now an all-time great, an absolute all-time great. There's no way that you can bother him on the court. You try to beat him up. You put a bigger guy, a smaller guy, a faster guy, a stronger guy. The guy's been a pro since he's been 13 years old, and he has been incredible from day one.
That's what makes it interesting that he has played bigger games overseas at a younger age. When he was 16, playing in the Euro Finals, right?
Yeah.
So he's played in bigger games. Obviously, this is the NBA Finals. But at 16, he's experienced what pressure is all about. So being in the NBA Finals is not going to jar him at all.
Who in today's game remind you of you? Not the big ears. No.
I would say Klay Thompson comes to mind. you coached, him and Stefan. In terms of catch and shoot, people always want to be like, he couldn't dribble. People forget that my mid-range game set up my three-point game. And you've got to be able to go left or right 3 or 4 steps and create space. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I would probably say Clay a little bit.
I agree. I see the similarities, the size, 6'6", 6'7", incredible all-time great shooters. The ability, I think you were a little bit more crafty with the ability to create contact, that little runner, get the N1. But both guys, tremendous competitors, tremendous work ethic, and both guys wound up in the Hall of Fame.
All right, Pops. Any other questions you got? I'm
Yeah, you
happy
remember,
and I'm excited.
You remember coming to visit me when I was coaching, when I was privileged to coach the Golden State Warriors and speaking to a young Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and Draymond Green in that cast?
Not only do I remember it, because what made it interesting is, you remember the series you had versus the Clippers? I think that was your first foray in terms of them playing at a high level. It was the Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan.
Game 7, yeah.
Yes. And first of all, you guys should have won that game. But
up 2 with 2 minutes to go.
Anyways. So yes, I remember coming and speaking to those 3 guys just for the simple fact they needed to understand how great they can be together. And you don't get enough credit for developing a culture amongst those 3 guys that has permeated through 4 championships. And I know people don't want to say that. And Steve Kerr, who's great and we love, a partner of mine at Turner for so many years. Obviously, he's a part of those 4 championships, but the culture had to have been set somewhere. And you laid the foundation with those 3 guys, because no one ever talked about defense with the Golden State Warriors until you got there.
Oh, thank you.
So kudos to you for laying the foundation for those 3 guys. And it's funny because you hear Dre and you hear Steph and even Clay in interviews now still mentioning your pops, and some of the words and the wisdoms that you put on them. So those were fun times. I remember I didn't get in trouble, but it was a playoff game in Golden State, in San Francisco at the time, and you guys won a close game. And I remember coming in the locker room like, yeah, guys, way to go. Y'all scared the hell out of it. Remember when I was cursing in the locker room and our own TNT was covering it and had the camera in the locker room airing my speech to them, and was like, I mean, they liked it, but do you remember that?
Of course. How can I forget?
You're like, whoa, enough with the curse words. Dre appreciated it. Maybe the other guys did.
Of course. Great times, though, and he deposited a powerful word to those guys, and it's incredible. I mean, you say it, but to see where they are today is a testament to them and their work ethic, their professionalism, and their competitive drive and spirit.
Again, you laid the foundation.
We're not going there, man. You know I'm out of work.
No, you're not out of work.
You're not. What
You
are you talking about?
see all these cameras here? You're not out of work.
Do you miss Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and me calling games?
I do.
I get a text in the middle of the game, and this guy.
I do.
But you do an incredible job, by the way.
I do miss you on air, but I don't think it's the end of you not being on air.
Well,
what do you want to do more? Do you want to get back into broadcasting? Do you want to get back into coaching? Or either or?
I had a dream to be both, so I can't play anymore. That was a dream, so that's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to doing whatever's next for me, but I absolutely, when people say you want to coach, I've been waiting to coach from the moment I got fired.
Mm-hmm.
You got a little league team or something I can
Yes, your godson would love.
There will be no meetings with you after the game.
Yes, sir.
I'm not having any meetings.
I'm not
with
going to be
you.
that type of dad. But
What?
I'm not going to be
Oh, no,
that.
you're not that type.
Right.
No,
I'm not
you're
going to
not.
be up at it. Once a coach says something to my son, it's law. That's how chain of command.
But real quick, your mom and dad, I know you were fortunate just like me to have 2 incredible parents. Talk about their impact in growing the type of, not just successful athletes, but the people, the kids that they raised and their imprint on you guys.
Number one, it first started in the church. Both of my parents were Baptist and very religious. And, you know, being in Air Force, Brett, number one, always traveling around because we always had to move from base to base. And we finally settled in Riverside, but we lived in Minot, North Dakota, Nebraska, Bermuda, and then one stint in Riverside, and then we had to move back out for a couple of years, and then we came back to Riverside. But to have a mom and a dad, the best thing about growing up in our house, our two older brothers were so much older than Cheryl and I and Tammy. They were 8 and 9 years older than us. So playing 2-on-2, like Saul would usually take Cheryl. Daryl, who wasn't a basketball player, always got me. And my development wasn't great in basketball. So Saul and Cheryl used to kick our crap out of us all the time. But that, when you talk about iron sharpens iron, that's where all that came from. And my pops being in the backyard, putting us through drills, being hands-on. And when you come from a military family, we talk about type A, regiment, get up in the morning, make your bed, make sure your room is clean, brush your teeth, make sure the house, those things, you know, I try to instill upon our kids because in today's age of social media, kids on tablets and phones, I want them to have a sense of responsibility. And I think having those type of chores growing up was the best thing for me in terms of athletics. Get to the gym early, get up your shots early, stay after practice, get your shots up, get your stretching in. I just think that helped me professionally as a basketball player because I was so regimented as a kid. We weren't allowed to go to parties in high school. Wasn't able to go to the prom because it was always sports related. And if you weren't playing, one of your brothers or sisters was doing something and you had to go to their events. And that's what made us a tight-knit family. Going on vacations, just your family. Now today, kids go on family vacations with other families. I never knew what that was. Like, really?
Yeah.
No, we go on vacations just with us.
Yeah.
That's what bred us together.
He gave a powerful speech at his father's homegoing service. And the incredible thing is, I'm like, we want to give it up for, I didn't know he was a deacon.
Yes.
We're going to sing his favorite song. I'm like, what the heck? It was like so emotional and powerful, but it was the respect and the reverence towards a successful, long-lived, impactful life. That's what it's all about.
It is. And again, I'm lucky and blessed to grow up in a house, you know, with a mom and a dad who cared. My mom was a stay-at-home. She was a nurse, but decided to stay at home to, you know, raise 5 kids. Because if one of us got sick, hurt, whatever, we knew mom was at home to look after us while pops was at the base. And it was funny because I'm sure you did this a lot. We like to play them off one another too, you know. When you got in trouble with pops, you'd go to mom and be like, but mom, and mom would be like, well, go talk to your dad. It's like, no, I don't want to go talk to dad. I'm coming to you, and vice versa. So that's what made it great.
And now they're doing it to us.
Big time. Like when I tell my son, yes, you had a great game, great throw, but there was a wide open guy right here, and you threw it to the opposite guy that was standing right next to him.
Let it go, man.
Being that we're family, I know that you have plenty of family. Everybody loves you. It's just who you are. But I know in the news lately, I've read about the possibility of TNT possibly ending soon. It hurts my heart. Can you maybe just give us an inside scoop or just some info about what's going on or how you feel about it?
I wish I could give more inside scoop, but we don't know anything just as much as the regular Joe on the street. I can only give you things that we've been hearing because it could be the end of an era. Think about this. I played 18 years professionally for the Pacers. And right now, this past year was my 18th year at Turner. So for 36 years, I've only known 2 things.
Yeah.
The Pacers and TNT and Turner. I'm hoping there's a last second, some type of negotiation where we come in and we're still a part of ABC, ESPN. I know NBC possibly has a deal. Amazon has entered the picture. But it would be sad. All the, the studio show with Charles and Kenny, Ernie, Shaq, the laughs. When I first started, I would do 2 weeks on the show with them and then 2 calling games my first 4 or 5 years, and then I transitioned strictly to games. I think people will be devastated if they go away. They could care less about me, but it's more so those guys.
Man, get out of here. We love hearing you.
I appreciate that.
He'll be calling games somewhere every once.
Yeah, come on.
I hope this is not. I hope it's not the end. Yeah. But it's been too quiet, but maybe they're negotiating. Maybe they're at the table. This is way over my pay grade, obviously. But I just hope that this is not it, because all people really know is Thursday nights and TNT and Ernie and those guys. So that's, they are the baseline for our show.
It's been an incredible run, and salute. And we need them continue to represent the game.
I agree. Because they keep it real. And the good thing, I don't know if this happened while you were at ABC, ESPN, but from day one, they were like, we're unscripted on the show. We're not going to give you an outline.
You said you don't know if that happened?
I don't know.
ESPN studios, you don't watch?
Well, they're a little scripted. Yes, they are. But those guys, what you see is what you get. Yeah. Ernie is the only one because he has to be traffic cop, so he kind of knows what's coming down the pike. But Shaq, Charles, Kenny, he's just throwing lobs and they're finishing them. So
I was listening to a Charles Barkley interview just yesterday, and he said before every show, he gathers all of them and he says one thing. He says, "We're not blanking saving the world.
Right.
Let's have fun."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, and they're honest. And a lot of times, players don't want to hear that. Yeah. Pat Riley told me something back in my UCLA days when the Lakers used to work out up at Poly Pavilion and during those great summertime runs. Pat Riley said, great players always want to be told the truth. And that has resonated from me since my freshman year. The reason why they always want to be told the truth, don't sugarcoat anything. If I'm dogging it, tell me I'm dogging it. A lot of players today, they don't want to be told the truth. And Charles, Shaq, Kenny, they tell the truth. Now, you might not like how they go about telling you the truth, but they're telling you the truth. Yeah. And I always respected that when, the Peter Vesties of the world, would write certain things about us. Mm-hmm. There's some truth into whatever they're saying. Yeah. And you've got to listen to what that is, and how you decipher it is up to you. But there's always a little truth into what those guys in the studio are saying. They're just telling the truth. Tell me the truth. Don't sugarcoat anything. I'd rather be told the truth than you lie and snitch behind my back and tell me, hey, everything is great. I don't want to hear that when I know things aren't right.
Can we get the truth finally? Whose ears are bigger? In the comments, please.
Please go in the comments and say something. Please, since they want to do this to themselves, please tell them in the comments whose ears is bigger.
Look at these. Look at those. Holy crap. Are you kidding me?
I got the official congratulations. You win. You win. I got the updated score.
Look at these earlobes. Man.
Oh my God.
Y'all could be cousins. Y'all look like family.
Don't do that.
It's close. It's close.
Okay, close.
You and I look more like family. I don't know about this dude. You and I look like family.
Oh, man.
I tell you what, though, it has been an absolute honor, privilege, and thrill, and I sincerely mean it. Anytime you want to come and sit in this chair.
I love it.
And break bread and just talk about anything, whether it's a league or anything that's on your heart, like you want Caitlin Clark to slap somebody or anything like that, you're more than welcome, man. Your family for life, a brother for life. I love you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Little Jack. Oh, you're not little anymore. Not little anymore.
Hey, let's give it up for him. Let's give it up for Reggie Miller, y'all. Give it up.
Oh, nice.
The legend.
Again, Thanks to my Uncle Reggie Miller, man, for coming through. I know y'all enjoyed it. Great content, great stuff, and just great conversation, man. It's always love. Shout outs to our sponsors, Underdog Fantasy. Go ahead and click the link in the description. Use the promo code MARK and imagine the first time deposit of up to $250. We appreciate y'all, man.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Mark Jackson Show. I'm Mark Jackson. This is the dynamic one, my guy Bluu. We certainly appreciate all your love and support. Remember, speaking of Reggie Miller, I played hundreds of games with Reggie Miller, a bunch of big-time games with Reggie Miller. Watched him perform miracles, watched him do some special things, watched him snatch victory from the jaws of the opposition. Matter of fact, I watched him score 8 points in 9 seconds when everybody in the building thought it was over. Guess what? After my career was over, I went back to watch Reggie play the Pacers against the Nets in a playoff game. The game was down the stretch. The Nets was winning. I grabbed my son's hand, and we walked up the stairs. I wanted to beat traffic. I said we could talk to Uncle Reggie later on. I got to the top of the steps. It was a collective sigh in the building. Reggie had done it again. I got mad at myself. I said, how dare me, somebody that witnessed him time and time again come through, witnessed him perform miracles, witnessed him do things that people thought couldn't be done. You think I'm talking about Reggie right now, but I'm not talking about Reggie. I'm talking about the one that took care of me. People think it's over. People think it's done. People think it'll never happen. He's been too good to me. Don't miss your shout. Blessings.